Hello, everybody there? So, but all right, I just restarted Power World because I had it going all night. You got to get the farming in. Getting my webcam set up. So annoying. Oh my god, these adverts are so troll. It's like I slightly tap it and I don't hit the X exactly, and then it just loads the ad. Dude, I hate ads. Like they're always built in such scammy, stupid ways. Like, just make it easy to exit out of the ad because it's like I'm never gonna use TikTok now because of this. Like every ad that pulls this shit, I'm just not gonna use. I'll never use their app. Then you hit one X, then you have to hit a second X perfectly, and if you don't, then you get sent to the fucking ad, man. So stupid. Yeah, fuck it, man. We ball. Fuck I know. Redundant. Stupid. This should go in. Oh yeah, how much palladium am I at now? He's going all night. 230,000? Okay. Change this. Need some chromite.
Crollo wants to steal the ritual urn ability so he can give himself a guardian Nen beast. Full JoJo shit is about to happen. So I love the idea of Crollo getting his hands on the seed urn, then adding in a little drop of his own blood into it and becoming a succession contest participant. However, it does make extremely little sense when you examine the idea from any place of logic, even when you take into consideration the wild theory that Crollo is some sort of distant cucking prince, which is an idea that's existed for a while. There's been many ideas, one of which is that he's related to Queen Oito, or that Crollo was a carnival orphan produced by Khan Lavar, and really anything that can be said about Crollo has been said about him. My understanding of what he's doing right now is that he needs to steal a national treasure as a condition for Skill Hunter, so that Skill Hunter is able to be buffed up and acquire a completely different Nen ability. But Crollo also does seem to know a pretty suspicious amount about the sacred Karkin artifacts that power the contest. In fact, Crollo was the one who described the Lotus Anchorite and the Sword of Good Omens to us. This Crollo, he somehow knows more about the contest than any of the actual princes do, which means that he probably has a source high up within the Karkin Empire. And I don't know who that is. At the moment, I can only think of, say, 3 people that know as much about this contest as Crollo does. One of which would be King Nasubi himself, another would be Nasubi's trusted butler, Nugui, and the third would be Beyond Netero. And right now, if I was to have to select from the 3 of them, Beyond seems to be the most likely to invite the Phantom Troop aboard to cause assorted chaoses. But it's also the sort of thing that King Nasubi might do. He does plan on sacrificing all 200,000 lives aboard the ship to the Empire, so hiring some external contractors to help out, it might be quite efficient. However, if Togashi could make it happen, and I know that this is pure fan fiction, but I would still love it if Crollo did somehow find a way to summon his own guardian spirit beast, because he's been very good at finding Nen loopholes to do crazy stuff like this. To be clear, it's not gonna happen, but I really want it to. I like that Togashi constantly reminds us that human creations are often worse than the magic system of the world. Meruem dying from a nuke rather than Nen, TSK-17 being a major player in the succession contest, Benjamin just using a gun to kill Terra Sandwich even if it won't kill him, etc. Even Kurapika just using a gun with his lie detector chain. It feels like it reduces power creep that is prevalent in other shonen manga. Yeah, so I talked about the Poor Man's Rose and TSK-17 in regards to this in the previous video, but the example of Kurapika of all people using a gun is also pretty perfect. In fact, Togashi, he seems to be quite focused on guns in this arc and detailing how they interact with Nen. For example, we have Longi saying stuff like, maybe you can't kill a Nen user with a 22 caliber, which is what Kurapika is using, but at other points Kurapika has also identified the weapons used by 3rd Prince Zhang men as 9mm Lugers that would do some damage to him, which we did see earlier as Bill was able to block 9mm bullets using Ken. However, it still caused him quite a bit of pain. And the reason why he succeeded in blocking these bullets at all is because Bill is a natural enhancer, whereas Kurapika as a conjurer is too far removed from enhancement on the Nen Ring, and so for Kurapika to block bullets using Bill's method would probably break his arm at the very least. And I find that sort of stuff really interesting, because one of the shonen traps is for our main characters to become all-rounders, to be capable of doing all of the things as they just gain more and more power. But there's stuff, so much stuff that all of these minor characters can do that our main character Kurapika could never engage in. So if the bullets start flying, Kurapika, he is not automatically safe. And now Kurapika is also assuming that even bigger bangs are eventually going to make their room into 1014, like a 45 caliber, and Kurapika specifically mentions a Heckler & Koch, which is a real-life German weapons manufacturer that I'm probably mispronouncing. I think I just wanted to say Koch. But Togashi has developed quite a keen interest and I think respect for firearms in his later years, because this sort of stuff was not so present in early Hunter x Hunter. Back in the day, guns in Hunter x Hunter followed the stock standard shonen pathway of only really being used to show off the powers of characters who were so far above all of that. Like when Kurapika could easily stop bullets with his chains, or the absolute beast that was Uvagin tanking a bazooka shell. Uvagin also took a gunshot to the head at point-blank range, got a bullet in his teeth. And I'm sure that you can retroactively make the argument that Uvagin, he was just one of the greatest enhancers.
Jet Raggin, you just scared all the fish away. Fuck.
Was going in for quite a while.
I mean,
But Nen
freak.
users were far above
Sorry,
the
I can't.
rules of humanity. However, along the way,
If I curse
Togashi
again, I'll
started to
slap
change.
myself on stream.
He began to view humanity's innovations of malice as terrifying.
Not
and more
self-harm,
powerful
it's
than
self-education.
anything that his own imagination could ever conjure using the fictional Nen system. And I think that works in favor of Hunter x Hunter. It keeps the series grounded and stops Nen spiraling far too much out of control. Because Chimera Ants aside, it doesn't matter who you are, you can still have your life taken in the snap of a finger by any old bullet. One thing I haven't seen you mention about TSK-17 yet is that 5th Prince Beppa's Guardian Spirit Beast ability may be able to produce an antidote for the chemical weapon. This would be a fantastic use of Beppa's Guardian Spirit Beast. And the way that Togashi has set this up is very much in favor of that outcome, because Kurapika, he has now become Beppa's quote-unquote research partner. What we've been told so far is that Beppa's Guardian Spirit Beast is a collaborative type transmuter, and one of its conditions for activation is to acquire a research partner, and with that partner, the beast can produce a wide variety of wonderful drugs within its body. And the beast itself only started appearing in the presence of Benjamin's soldiers after Kurapika formed an alliance with Beppa, leading Rihan to deduce that it is a conditional type, which is not good because he is exactly right, and if Rihan learns too much more, then he will have enough information to use Predator to kill Beppa's Guardian Spirit Beast. But as always, Kurapika is becoming an even more central figure in all of this, and I can definitely see him wanting to develop a cure for TSK-17. But the question is, how willing would Beppa be to work towards that goal? At the moment, Benjamin and Camilla are infected with it, and Beppa, well, she despises both of them to the core. Beppa even tried to form an alliance with Soraidnik earlier on to get rid of those two first. So for Beppa to have a real interest in crafting a cure, I think that something much more desperate would need to happen, such as her becoming infected herself. Maybe that's the plan though. Right now, Benjamin is using special martial law to get as many princes as possible into his room without any of their bodyguards. And when they're all in the same room, maybe instead of gunning them all down, what he does is he just releases a batch of TSK-17. And suddenly, pretty much every prince is infected and operating on the same clock. And I think that, other logical reasons aside, that might explain why Benjamin wants the princes to be alone in that room, because he's a fairly altruistic guy from his own perspective. If any guards were in the room, then they would become infected with TSK-17 as well, and that would be unnecessary lives taken, and the only people who need to die are the princes. Also, this might seem counterintuitive at first, but another reason to develop a cure might be to counter Benjamin. The whole reason why he's able to walk around like he's invincible right now is because the TSK is set to kill him first. But if Benjamin was to be, how shall we put this, non-consensually cured, then that would leave him open to Yomotsu Hegui and also Beyond's Curse, both of which would theoretically mess with whatever his Guardian Spirit Beast ability is. I don't know, something to do with death and resurrection. And so under those circumstances, I could see Beppa going, yes, let's mess up Benjamin's plans and have him be killed by by something else. I want to believe that Benjamin knows Sir Rydnik is just going to come right back somehow, but wanted the satisfaction of blasting him. That would be pretty funny. As if Benjamin's all like, alright, I know I'm about to fall into some sort of Zetsu trap, but I'm gonna unload anyway. And I do see a lot of questioning here about how Benjamin will not notice Sir Rydnik using Parallel Future, because in theory, if Benjamin keeps his eyes open for even a few seconds, then he should notice a very not dead Sir Rydnik, or at least his body suddenly disappearing if he was to use Parallel Future to go hide somewhere. But it is possible that Benjamin won't notice because he just does not have the time to revel in this kill. That was the whole point of shooting Sir Rydnik instantly. That's not what Benjamin wanted. No. But because Benjamin has a less than 10 hours of consciousness left, Benjamin needs to be time efficient. And staying in this room even 10 seconds longer may be a higher cost than Benjamin is willing to pay. But it could also be much more complicated than that. In chapter 416, Sir Rydnik also came up with a plan involving Salkov's handgun and making sure that his body would be placed into a coffin ASAP. And we could be about to see a crazy use of Parallel Future, where Sir Rydnik keeps his eyes closed after what is known as the ephemeral 10 seconds, and orchestrating a plan maneuvering in both worlds at once. Here's the thing though, this is still Benjamin's clear fault. He's let his feelings, his nasty feelings towards Sir Rydnik get the better of him, whereas in other cases, Benjamin has followed a fairly strongly thought out series of steps. So I think that what Benjamin maybe should have done here is also infect Sir Rydnik with the TSK-17. Because that way, even with Sir Rydnik's disgustingly overpowered Parallel Future, he would not have noticed the infection if Benjamin did not inform him like Benjamin did with Camilla. And so Sir Rydnik wouldn't even know that he needed to avoid it in the parallel world. And that would guarantee Sir Rydnik's death. However, because Benjamin wanted to inflict a brutal, painful death as quickly as possible, he's landed on the less well thought out option to satisfy his own desires. And look, I get that Benjamin couldn't possibly have known about this weird Nen ability, but mate, he is still a Nen veteran. If you walk in, you see Sir Rydnik using Zetsu, you think to yourself, there could be something different happening here. Even if Benjamin knew that Sir Rydnik wasn't a Nen user prior to the contest, that status quo changed the moment that Blackwell one departed and the Guardian Spirit Beast was summoned, which is another thing that Benjamin really hasn't considered at all. Due to Sir Rydnik also being the child of First Queen Unma, Benjamin was unable to station any soldiers in Sir Rydnik's room. Benjamin has no information on anything that's been happening in there. In the case of each and every other prince, the soldiers, they have been conducting a detailed analysis of the Nen Beast and to the Nen using guards. So this just seems very counter to how Benjamin usually operates. There was no caution here and there was no plan beyond barging in and shooting a dude. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sir Rydnik is the blind spot that cost Benjamin everything in the end. New World Review. Benjamin is kind of a good guy now. Benjamin murders 2 random maids. Look, maybe the use of the words good guy is a bit much, but this is kind of what I was saying before. Benjamin might be planning to infect the other princes with TSK-17 when they all gather in his room, and he said that there are no guards allowed to be inside, possibly, so as not to infect them also. So as brutal as it looks, one reason why Benjamin shot up the maids may be because he doesn't want them to die the same sort of agonizing death that he is inflicting Camilla with, because the maids would have gotten infected as well. However, I don't know if I'm giving Benjamin far too much credit there, because another reason to kill the maids is so that they don't kill Camilla and trigger her cat's name ability. Benjamin needs to make sure that he is the one responsible for Camilla's death, so that Cat's name won't have a valid target to revive Camilla. Although I don't know how well that logic works either, because Benjamin didn't leave any of his guards with Camilla. They all just left her there. So what's stopping another have-not from sacrificing themselves and giving their life force to revive Camilla? I don't know. But back to being the good guy, then come on. If Killua can murder dudes and still be considered the heart and soul of Hunter x Hunter, then I still think that Benjamin is one of the more morally sound characters in this arc at the very least. Even with some murder here and there, that's just how Hunter x Hunter is. The craziest part of this chapter for me was when Benjamin and Sir Rydnik met. That was genuinely crazy. One, because Sir Rydnik has spent almost this entire arc alone in his room. He doesn't go to the banquets and stuff. He's been completely focused on the Nen. But due to the complex rules of social engagement in this arc, it is actually very, very difficult for any of the princes to come face to face with each other. It generally only happens if there's a special relationship.
I missed my shot. Wow, that's embarrassing.
Or if someone does something particularly stupid, like Camilla waltzing into Benjamin's room. And you know what? I was about
Oh,
to
hey,
say
I'm looking at
Lay met with Woble, but now
I'm looking at chat now. Sorry, Lindsay Bell.
So the fact that
I'm listening to New Year
not just one but 2 princes, it is
to
pretty
New World
Now that
Review,
a lot of the princes
talking
do
about
still
Hunter x
have to
Hunter.
lost their security, we may see a fair few more meetings. I, for one, would be quite keen to see Zhang Lei perhaps run into Loserus. They're both benefactors of mafia families who are currently working together against the Hale Li family, so they might have a natural temporary alliance that could be enacted. And I think that Tyson and Tebeppa are probably about to meet since they're being taken to Benjamin's room. The funny thing, like you said, if Theta had just done the usual thing of learning Ten, then Ren, then Zetsu, maybe Tserednik wouldn't have conjured this ability by continuing to focus on Zetsu. This is referring to a comment that I made in the previous video about how Theta has unwittingly created Tserednik, and how if she had just done nothing at all, he would probably die right here and now to Benjamin's assault. It is because of Theta attempting to assassinate the fourth prince that he is now perfectly prepared to survive another murder attempt. But what the commenter points out here is also extremely accurate and something that I'd not thought of before. Theta did teach Tserednik the basic principles of Ten, Ren, and Zetsu. However, from the very start, Theta's mindset has been that Tserednik is a man who can never, ever be allowed to wield aura. And so she was trying to deliberately hinder his bafflingly rapid progress. And the standard thought process for that would be to stifle Ten and Ren, the basic defensive and offensive applications of Nen, which is what Theta did. And so Theta, what she did was very sneaky. She said that the key to increasing the power of Hatsu is Zetsu. And so Theta funneled Tserednik into focusing solely on Zetsu, with the idea being that Theta would use this as an opportunity to assassinate him. And you know, it's hard to tell exactly what happened here. One possibility is that Theta just got unlucky. He stumbled onto a rather Zetsu-shaped landmine, and coincidentally Tserednik's ability required Zetsu as a condition. But the other option is that Tserednik, as a young genius, actually believed Theta, and he made her words a reality. To increase the power of your Hatsu, you need to practice Zetsu. This is not true for almost any other Nen user. I mean, it's more accurate to say that Ten and Ren would contribute more to increasing the power of Hatsu, but if Tserednik took Theta's words as gospel, then he may have developed his Nen ability subconsciously based on this knowledge. There is a third option though, and that option is that this is the work of Tserednik's guardian spirit beast. It has always been suspicious of Theta, and perhaps it detected that Theta was not lying to the fourth prince, but she was being a bit tricky with the truth. And so the guardian spirit beast could have taken Theta's words and manifested an ability, which meant that all of Theta's efforts to thwart Tserednik ended up making him stronger, to transform Theta from a lying wench into a truth-telling wench. So it's an interesting question. What would have happened if Theta told the truth and trained Tserednik normally? In that case, we might still be dealing with a Nen amateur without a fully formed ability right now, but instead Theta has almost single-handedly accidentally created this monster. But for now, I want you to let me know what you thought about all of this in the comments below.
We just found some disturbing TikToks that make reality feel different.
You see these clips, you'll understand why. Let's get into it. I don't know if he was doing this for sport, but that thing had a hold of him.
Sure did, and he seemed pretty happy at the end frightened about it.
There is a brand new warning that is being issued to literally everybody right now because Congress just introduced 12 new bills that would force you to scan your ID before you're ever even allowed to go online. So actively happening right now, there is a brand new package of 12 bipartisan bills that are moving through the House that would require identity verification just to be able to use the internet. They're being framed as child safety laws, but they're a little bit more in detail, and here's what they actually do. To verify somebody's age, a platform would have to verify who you are, obviously, so that means every single user would need to submit a passport, government ID, or credit card before being able to access any apps. Your real official identity would be permanently linked to everything that you do online, so that includes every single post, every single search, and every single message. The problem that everybody's having and why this is getting so much attention right now is because nobody would ever be able to use the internet anonymous anymore. Everybody would know who you are. They're saying that there is no current way to build an age verification system without building a mass surveillance system. The Electronic Frontier Foundation has also been warning that these new laws would strip rights from the exact people that they claim to protect. And right now, these bills have enough votes to pass, so the question really is, what do you think about this?
Yeah, that's definitely going to change the game. People's identity being revealed on every search and every post that they make online.
Yeah, this is gonna get a lot of people worked up. What's your thoughts on this, guys? Let us know down below in the comment section.
Check this out. This company built an AI headset that lets you control your dreams. Imagine Inception, but in real life whenever you want. And they do this by activating lucid dreams. It's insane. In normal dreams, this part of your brain is turned off. It's called the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. And that's where all your decision making happens. That's why in normal dreams, weird things happen to you that you just can't control because your control center is off. And this device lets you turn them on whenever you want. But in lucid dreams, things are completely different. In lucid dreams, you can control your behavior. You can think, act, build, invent, all in a world where there are no risks. Some of the best inventions in human history came from lucid dreams. Tesla, Einstein, even the idea for the periodic table came when the inventor was asleep. It's pretty powerful. Now this company, Prophetic, created a way to turn on lucid dreaming whenever you want. It's called the Halo, and it fires low intensity ultrasonic energy to activate that part of the brain, essentially waking you up while you're sleeping. Imagine being able to focus during a nap or trying to experiment with a dangerous solution in a world with no danger. Now these headsets are going to be available at the end of this year, and it will be wild to see how well they work.
I mean, it sounds cool and all, but I mean, you start putting headbands on next to your brain, they're putting waves, and you don't know what's going on. It just seems a little risky to me.
I can already see them taking it to the next level and actually giving them the ability to set the dreams they want to have here.
So they're just gonna pop a headband on and you're good to go. Once again, that's that convenience, and people are probably gonna eat it up.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, this is definitely going to be a thing of the future, so get ready, guys.
It was a 4-year-old boy. He said that in his past life, he was Princess Diana.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And this was all over, I think it was UK or British news, right? And this is how it all started. His dad had an old note, right? That he gave to his wife.
Yeah.
And on it was Princess Diana. Guess what the 4-year-old said?
What'd he say?
He said, that was me when I was a princess.
That's a crazy thing to say as a kid.
As a kid, 4-year-old boys. He said, I'm a princess. After that, he said, yeah, I was a princess before the sirens went off. Bam.
Oh.
4-year-old. That means as soon as Princess Diana, when the ambulance came, he knew, he remembered. As soon as he grew up, he started mentioning Prince William and Prince Harry. He referred to them as his sons.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
But no, this is where it really gets. He's still alive, no?
Yes, bro. Right before Princess Diana was born, she had a brother, older brother named John. John, as a baby. So Princess Diana didn't even get to meet John, right?
Yeah.
This kid goes on an interview, said, I have an older brother named John. How would that kid
shit.
even know about a person that Princess Diana didn't even meet
So
in
he
her
really
life?
connected somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty out there.
I mean, really, how would this kid know all that information?
Exactly. Basically brand new to the world. And this is why so many people on the other side of the world, the eastern side, believe in reincarnation, because they're open-minded to it, and there's a lot of stories like that happen. think they said something like over 600 homes got burnt in this area.
The wild shit is that you guys notice the trees and the grass still there, but the whole house is gone. The gone is, and right along with all the other houses on the neighborhood. But yet the green grass is still there. The trees are still there.
So what, the fire plate favorites?
This reminds me of that stuff that happened over there in what's that island called again?
Hawaii?
So you're telling me the city has had plans for the last year to implement a new data center exactly where the fires began, where I just got evacuated yesterday? I don't even know why I'm surprised to find this out. Because as I've been posting updates on the fire, people keep asking me, like, how did it start? How did it start? And I've heard multiple different rumors of how it started. And now come to find out, there are plans for a data center here, literally in that exact spot. I don't know. That just can't be coincidence. And if you track all the major fires, like I've just been doing some research. You look at all the major fires that are happening now in the country. Do your research, people. I don't trust anyone who trusts the government right now.
For that place to have gone through what it's going through right now, and somehow, some way, these centers have already, I guess, said, hey, I got first dibs on that. That's mine.
Which is interesting because I thought once a land gets burnt up like that, it's considered a natural disaster. I didn't think that you could sell it or like the people could even come back to it.
I have been warning people to create a bug out kit and to be prepared for a 72-hour blackout, grid down experience. You need to have water, you need to have food, you need to have emergency medical supplies, power banks that are charged. You need to have all of your emergency documents in one place because of this. And I am a modern oracle. I am going to give you a couple of predictions that might make you feel uncomfortable. But lately, my attention has been drawn to the Pacific and the remembrance of how quickly life changed at Pearl Harbor. And I do believe that there will be a larger, more directed attack. I don't wish it on anybody. I feel most concerned with Florida, with drones being launched from Cuba, and I have concerns about drones being launched from Mexico towards
Lady is out of her
California.
mind.
Hope I'm wrong, like I say, but this doesn't look so good, does it? And while all of this attention is being poured into Fauci, are we keeping America safe? And what can you do to set yourself up for greater success?